Hello, review time! Today I would like to review the brand new watch from Kronos Blade. It's called Kronos Blade Genesis. It's a brand new watch, first release, big box, and I would like us to compare it slightly with the Cossped Prime. So this is Cossped Prime and this is Kronos Blade Genesis model. To a certain extent those watches look similar. In fact, they have the same bezel size, same thickness, and very similar construction, and they look slightly like a mirror of each other, because this is my previous watch, Cossped Prime, and this is the new one. As I said, same bezel size, same thickness, same belt, 24mm width, so they are interchangeable, and belt strap can be easily replaced because you have a quick release and there is no antennas inside, nothing like this, so it works quite okay and you can use any strap you like. In fact, I have switched the straps because this is the strap from Kronos and this is the old strap from Cossped. However, as this strap is thinner, I like it more and it kind of fits for me better in this watch. You can see that this strap is about a millimeter thicker, so it's not so good solution for me. Just comparing the chassis and the watches, this new Kronos is only 48 grams and the Cossped is 63 grams, so you see the weight difference. The lighter watch makes more sense because this is pretty heavy, and this is basically due to the metal construction of this part of the watch. The part of the bezel is like metal, and in Kronos it's plastic, but you know, those are not the Cartier type of watches, so it doesn't really matter that much. But saying a few words about this mirror-like setup. First feature of Kronos is that it finally has the camera in the right spot. So it's at noon, at 12, and this allows you to take a picture simply more natural way, because it has the camera located correctly. So you take the picture on the front of the watch, and it was pretty awkward in the previous watch that in Cossped you had the main camera at 3 p.m, which was kind of stupid because each time you would like to take a picture, in fact it would be the part of your hand which you're gonna have always in your screen. So this was slightly stupid setup. In this, everything is finally okay, and you take a picture on the right, in the right way, in the right direction. Also the front camera, as you see, is not covered by your finger if you have the watch on the left hand. It is properly set up. Watch comes with the full additional features, which is charging station, which is something slightly new because you can charge the watch, as you can see, and it has the internal battery, so in some emergency you can even optionally charge it like this on your hand. And if you want to use and charge this dock, this has USB-C type of the connector, which is more frequent in the new phones right now. and it's getting more and more popular worldwide. Of course, it's USB cable on this side, and I would like to show you another charging method which is included in with this watch. It is the USB power bank with the cable which you snap, and it's a magnetic cable. However, this is a power bank with the surprise, because it has headset. So those are wireless buds which are designed to be used with this watch. Of course, you can use them separate, but it's a clever design because it is the charging base for the headphones and also the charging base and the supply of power for the watch. So comparing those connectors and the connector, it is similar connector on the Kronos Blade like on the Cosped. However, polarity of those pins are opposite, so they have changed the plus with minus, so you cannot use the old charging dock or charging cable with the new watch. So this is also different. Next functionality which is different between those two watches is that in fact Kronos use reflective type of the screen, slightly lower resolution. It's 320 times 320. However, the key feature is in fact not really the resolution but the visibility. This Kronos screen is really well visible in the full sun, so I strongly suggest it for use outside. It's better than any other watch that I have used, maybe except the Pebble, but Pebble is a different generation of the watch. So you have a picture here of the watch in the full sunlight. As you can see, it's easy to read and you can see the colors even if they are slightly washed out. This doesn't matter that much because it's the visibility which is the key issue, and resolution is quite fine. You can see that even if we have a closer look, even if the color is slightly bluish, it's not the case of really any pixelization or anything like this. You can change the brightness here easily by presses of the watch on the lower button, and as I said, the visibility of this screen is really good in the full bright sunlight. You can see that I have set those watches in the different way, that I use Nova Launcher on the watch. So this allows me to configure it as many screens as I want, and slightly different than the original Chinese setup. I like it much more this way because it shows me whatever I need. So the power level, time, alarms, and for example you can have a gallery here or any application you like on the watch, and this is this functionality is simply whatever you would like to have here. So it gives you the freedom of setup, and you can set it up as you want. So you can have like popular application here, or for example you can see all the applications which I have installed on the watch here in the drawer. So something to have a closer look, what I suggest to use is the application which is called Quick Camera, which I'll show you in a moment, Graffiti, and also the Android Pro widgets over here, and set up to allow the double press of the lower button to activate the camera. It's a button mapper, and also battery widgets to see the to see the battery level on the main screen. Yeah, so it activates the camera, double press, and you can see that finally we have a camera here. So this is a big step forward from the previous Chinese watches. In fact, this watch was designed by the person from the United States, so that's why it makes more sense and it kind of fulfills better the everyday use. Something to say about the setup. I'm using this watch with the Nova launcher, and also it is set up with the different connection software, which is called Watch Droid, and this is the key feature of the Watch Droid. It will show you incoming messages. It used to work also with the direct calling, so you could have like a short cut for your preferred contacts to activate the phone call over the Bluetooth. However, because of the some differences here in the version 10 of the Android, it does not work too good, in fact, because it only works in specific situation when you have your application on the screen, unfortunately. So there are some rights which has been changed, and you can activate the phone call when you have the application on the screen, but the main idea of this application is that you keep your phone in your pocket, in fact, and you activate the phone call using the watch, and you talk over the Bluetooth headset. And this does not work anymore, because here is the Bluetooth headset. You can have a look. This MW1 headset from Sony, it was quite good headset, not that much more available because it's not anymore in production, unfortunately. I don't know why, because it was the great headset with the FM radio and also with music player, MP3 player, also with the micro SD card input. So it's a USB key, it's a music player, it's a radio, and it's of course the headset which I use. So in this situation, this whole thing works together with the phone, with watch, and with the headset. And normally you initiate only the phone calls using the watch, and you use your regular phone to make a phone call, and you speak over the headset. But of course this watch has also internal phone module, so in case you are going somewhere out and you do not want to take a big phone with you, you can always just activate the card which is inside and use internal phone module just to call your preferred group of people. Okay, so I have made a quick dial here using APW widgets, and so I have a group of people which I would like to call, and this is possible using the internal phone module. So this is something to differentiate, to see the difference, how the calling is made, and that this is a secondary functionality. That of course you have the VLAN, you have a Bluetooth, and you have a full-featured phone inside this watch, which you put the SIM card under this flap here. And this watch also has, of course, the heart rate monitoring, and this way it's really like a full-featured computer. In fact, it has 32 gigs of RAM and 32 gigs of memory and 3 gigs of RAM, so it is quite a strong and quite a powerful computer which you can have on your hand. So I would like to show you also that this setup of this watch can be done in a very different way comparing to the normal regular Chinese setup. So you can, for example, set the different input method, not only the keyboard, but you can see here that we can enter text using the Graffiti. This is the input method which was used and which was initiated for the first use, in fact, like 30 years ago almost, on the Apple Newton. So this is quicker in some cases when you have a very small keyboard here, so you can enter the text better by writing letter by letter over here. So Nova Launcher gives you the opportunity to set the watch as you really want. Also, something to mention here is that this is probably the first watch from the Chinese watches which has really good activation by hand movement. So previous Chinese watches were kind of slow or lazy with the rise to screen on. This watch is much better in this sense that it is quite quick with this functionality, and it works quite okay. So if the screen goes off, you move your hand and you see that it activates quickly and without issues. This is something which is not really frequent for the Chinese watch. It is first watch which has this functionality really working properly. So this is additional plus of the Kronos, that it can be set up with this and it really works. Battery allows around 2 days of use, which is also acceptable. Something which I would like to show you and to suggest when you start the setup of this watch is simply to start the setup from the factory reset, because without that there are some issues with the sound not getting through the watch or some other small hiccups. So when you set the watch for the first time, please start the setup from the factory reset. It just solves a few issues which was on the watch. As I told you, this is custom setup with the Nova Launcher with Watch Droid assistance. So I would like to ask the programmer of the Watch Droid to update the application and to keep this functionality of the watch, which was allowing the activation of the phone calls through the watch. However, this needs an improvement and update on the phone, in fact, because it doesn't want to work well on the Android 10. So this is something, and if you are interested, please download from the Play Store the application Watch Droid, install it, and you will see that it will show you all the messages and everything from the phone on the screen. So it is better than the original Wii Watch application, in my opinion. Also, something which we can show on the watch here is, for example, the additional applications for the camera use. You see, by shaking you can see a translucent button here, and this is quick camera application. You can take a picture without even activating the screen. It just shows by vibration that it took a picture, but I can tell you that it really works nicely, and this is additional feature which you can configure on this watch. So, but have a look on the drawer what I have installed here. So APW widgets, this is to make a quick calling. Button mapper allows the specific setup of the lower button. So, but just make sure that you load this application. It's from Intersoft. This one really works, and it will allow you to remap the buttons, especially the lower button, because on the you need the top button for original use. Also, Graffiti, which I showed you. And a few other applications which you can do. You can use whatever you want. So also Watch Droid assistants, and for example, any application you like. As I said, it's 32 gigs of memory, so it's a lot of storage, and there are various apps which people like to use, and so on. So basically, I can say that's about it. Watch is really functional. Charging works, everything is okay. I strongly suggest this watch to everybody, and an improvement I would like to suggest to the creator, to the owner of Kronos Blade, to in the next release to push Chinese to really implement better, lower resolution even camera, but with the better sensitivity and the low light sensitivity, especially because those camera modules are really low and lowest end quality. Even if this one is maybe slightly better than in Prime, but it's not much better. It's just very tiny, slightly better, which is far from the whatever we can have on the phone right now. So I strongly suggest this watch. It is very universal. You can make a lot of setup and your specific private solution as you like it. And the last feature would like to have is simply the better water resistance, to make it like 30 meters water resist or watertight. Just not really to allow diving with this watch, but to allow to swim with that, because this is something which we are still missing, just to get such watch with really waterproofing properly performed. Okay, so that's about it. All the best. Looking forward for the next new releases. Thank you. Stay safe. Bye.